Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a super easy set of Christmas cards to share with you. These are so simple, you could probably get all of your Christmas cards done in a day. I whipped these up in no time, and they could be done even faster if you decided not to emboss them like I have. So I'm going to show you how I made them. I simply started off with two plain card bases, some craft cardstock, some red cardstock, and some Lawn Fawn stamp sets. I could not find my Winter Village stamp set. I have no idea what I've done with it. I'm looking everywhere for it since I've tidied out my craft space. So I used the Happy Village, but I would highly recommend the Winter Village if you have it. I'm also using lots of sets with gingerbread. I measured how big I needed my card fronts to be and I trimmed them down. These cards look a bit different, but they pretty much follow the exact same steps. I just wanted two very different looks with different colours. So I'm going to be pretty much making them side by side. Hopefully this will give you ideas on all the different colour schemes and stamp sets that you can use. I got straight onto my backgrounds, covering it with anti-static powder because these were going to have a lot of embossing on them and I didn't want powder stuck all over it. I then took the stamps that I wanted to use, in this case all the different variations of cute Lawn Fawn gingerbread, and I stamped it all over. I'm not going for a defined or even pattern here, I'm just making sure that I'm stamping this in all the areas where there's a big gap and turning the stamp sideways and upside down so that it doesn't look too planned. And because I was worried about my ink drying between using all the stamps, once I had done the houses in this case, I then covered them in embossing powder and went over and embossed them, and then I came back to do all the gingerbread people. One of the cool things I've noticed about craft cardstock is that you can see where you have put embossing ink really well. I find on some coloured cardstocks you can't see it and you kind of have to hope for the best and just sprinkle the powder everywhere and hope it catches, but this, we can see it, it's really clear. So here I am doing some of the gingerbread. Although this may look tedious, this was actually really easy. And I quite like embossing. I find that cards like this just help me get my embossing skills up. So I don't mind going back and forth a little bit and taking my time to do it. But as I said at the beginning, you could totally skip the embossing part of this and just do stamped coloured backgrounds. And you could get the exact same effect and it would be so much faster because you wouldn't have to stop and start to get the embossing done. I'm just finishing up this one with that tiny little girl gingerbread and the tiny little tree to fill in the gaps from the tiny gingerbread stamp set. They are just so cute. I love white embossing on brown cardstock. I just feel like it looks like icing and I never get sick of it because I'm back here doing this again after the cookie wreath cards that I made not long ago. And that was a lot of embossing. I'm going to leave you with a bit of music while I finish this one up and while I do the exact same for my red card, but with gold embossing powder and cute little houses. I know it wasn't the Winter Village stamp set as I had hoped, but I really think the little Happy Village stamp set did the trick, especially with the snowflakes in the background and the smoke coming out of the chimneys. Here I am just rounding off the corners for my card fronts. I just feel like this is making my cards look a little bit neater at the moment, especially since my paper trimmer's blade is on the way out and it's making my paper a little bit frayed. It just tidies up everything around the edges. Here I am stamping out what I guess would be like a feature image on the front of each card. These are going to be coloured in regular colours so that they stand out against the backgrounds. For my red card, I'm using the stamp that is all these little houses from the Simply Celebrate Winter stamp set. And then for my gingerbread card, I'm using stamps from the Love You a Latte stamp set. And the tiny gingerbread, because he's so cute. To colour these in, I'm just going to be using some Copic markers and add some white details with my Jelly Roll pens. To make my sentiments, I kept it super simple using some black cardstock, stamping with some embossing ink and using the same coloured embossing powder that I had used for the background. For my gingerbread card, I used Have a Very Sweet Holiday, and then for my card with all the little houses, I chose a very simple Season's Greetings. Once my sentiments were ready to go, assembling these cards could not have been more easy. I started off by covering the backs of my card fronts with some double-sided tape. Once I had adhered them both to their card bases, it was time to add the sentiments and the little feature images. And just for your entertainment, I thought I would keep in the footage of me managing to get both my hands stuck to both my sentiments. This is just an average day in my craft room. I actually had to stop the video so that I could take them off. Not one of my finest moments. So as you can see, I used some foam squares for the back of my sentiments to give them a little bit of dimension because these card fronts are very flat. I noticed once I had finished these sentiments that they are quite low. If I were to make this again, I'd probably make them about half an inch higher, just so that they didn't feel like they were all the way down the bottom of the card. And there we have it, both cards complete. Both super simple, both very cute. If you make cards like this, I hope you share them so that I get to see them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll have another card video for you by the end of the week. See you later.